Welcome to this guided demonstration on creating a vendor master record in SAP ERP. In this lesson, you'll learn how to set up a complete vendor profile, including essential information such as company details, address, reconciliation accounts, payment terms, and procurement data. This process is foundational for enabling accurate, consistent transactions with external suppliers, whether for one-time purchases or long-term procurement relationships. Throughout the demonstration, you'll see how each field connects to key financial and purchasing processes. You'll gain clarity on the organizational levels that influence vendor master data, including general data, company code data, and purchasing organization data, ensuring that vendor information supports both finance and procurement functions. To put this in perspective, think about a company like Pepsi. Managing thousands of vendors worldwide, from bottle manufacturers to advertising agencies, requires a well-organized system to track who they're buying from, how they're paying them, and under what conditions. A properly structured vendor master ensures accuracy, streamlines payment cycles, and supports audit compliance. Imagine if a payment delay occurred simply because a bank account detail was incorrect, or if procurement couldn't match an invoice because vendor data was incomplete. As we walk through this demonstration, reflect on your own organization. How is vendor information currently maintained? Are there manual touch points or inconsistencies that slow down your processes? Could a centralized, system-driven approach help reduce errors and improve vendor relationships? Let's get started and see how SAP ERP enables organizations like yours and like Pepsi to build a strong foundation for reliable and efficient vendor management. To access the vendor master record creation screen, we will now carefully navigate through the following menu path within the SAP ERP system. Starting from the SAP Easy Access menu, first select Logistics. Next, choose Materials Management. Then navigate to Purchasing, select Master Data, and then click on Vendor. After that, choose Central, and finally click on Create. Alternatively, you can directly use transaction code XK01 for quicker access. Before we proceed, let's briefly recap what a vendor master record is and why it's essential. A vendor master record contains all critical information about a supplier. This includes the vendor's official name, complete address, agreed payment terms, and essential accounting information. Accurate vendor records form the foundation of smooth interactions and ensure financial accuracy. These records serve as a central source of truth that supports numerous critical business processes, including procurement, purchasing operations, and financial accounting. Now, let's quickly review the key organizational levels involved in vendor master data. First, general data applies universally across all company codes and purchasing organizations. Second, company code data is specifically relevant for financial transactions and accounting activities. Third, purchasing organization data covers details pertinent exclusively to procurement activities. With this understanding in place, we are now ready to create a new vendor master record step by step. We begin by entering initial mandatory data into the Create Vendor Initial screen. Carefully enter the following key details. First, in the vendor field, enter a unique identifier to clearly distinguish this supplier within the SAP system. This vendor number is critical, enabling precise tracking and management of transactions. Next, in the company code field, enter 1000. The company code defines the financial and accounting context within which vendor transactions occur. Then enter 1000 again for the purchasing organization field. This identifies the purchasing unit responsible for managing procurement with this vendor. Next, specify the account group by entering ZTM. The account group determines the vendor type and directly influences which fields appear in the vendor master record. Once you've completed these fields, click Enter to proceed. Now let's enter the detailed address information for the vendor. Provide comprehensive details on the Create Vendor Address screen. Begin by specifying the title, then enter the official and complete company name of the vendor. Next, in search terms 1 and 2, enter relevant keywords to facilitate easy retrieval of the vendor's record within SAP ERP. Continue by entering the vendor's complete street address and house number. Next, input the accurate postal code corresponding to the vendor's physical location. In the country field, enter Germany, clearly indicating the vendor's geographical location. Then specify the relevant region by entering the state or province within Germany. Finally, set the preferred communication language as English. After carefully verifying all these details, click Enter to continue to the next screen. Next, we can skip any unnecessary views at this point. Simply press Enter whenever prompted to move forward. Now let's accurately enter the accounting information on the Create Vendor Accounting Information screen. Begin by entering the reconciliation account. Input the appropriate account code that corresponds specifically to domestic trade payables. This action links all vendor transactions directly to the correct general ledger account, ensuring accurate financial tracking. After entering this data, press Enter to proceed. Now we'll configure detailed payment terms within the accounting details section. Carefully enter the following payment terms on the Create Vendor Payment Transactions screen. First, specify the payment terms key. Clearly indicate discount percentages and payment deadlines. Next, in payment methods, enter payment methods C and S. These codes define the accepted methods for making payments to this vendor. For clarity, the payment terms can be explained as follows. Within 14 days, a 3% cash discount applies. Between 14 and 30 days, a 2% discount applies. After 30 days and up to 45 days, no discount is applicable. Click Enter to continue. We can now skip the correspondence accounting step. Simply press Enter to advance further. Next, we'll provide specific purchasing details on the Create Vendor Purchasing Data screen. In the order currency field, enter EUR, specifying the currency that will be used for all purchase orders issued to this vendor. For the terms of payment, re-enter the payment terms consistent with those previously set in accounting. Maintaining consistent terms across both purchasing and accounting ensures smooth operational processes. Press Enter again to proceed, skipping the partner functions step. Finally, let's save the vendor master record. When prompted with last data screen reached, select Yes to confirm and save your entries. The vendor master record has now been successfully created in the SAP ERP system. This comprehensive step-by-step demonstration helps you clearly understand each essential data field's purpose and significance, ensuring accuracy and clarity when managing vendor relationships within SAP ERP. Great work completing this demonstration on how to create a vendor master record in SAP ERP. You've now seen how to systematically enter and manage critical vendor data, ranging from general company details to financial accounting, payment terms, and purchasing specific information. More than just filling out fields, you've learned how each data point directly supports business operations, streamlines procurement, and ensures accurate financial transactions. By walking through each organizational level, general, company code, and purchasing, You've gained a clearer understanding of how vendor data integrates across functions and impacts processes from invoice handling to payment execution. Now, let's bring this back to a real world example. At Pepsi, imagine the complexity of coordinating with hundreds of packaging suppliers, equipment vendors, and service providers across regions. If vendor records weren't accurate, missing payment methods, outdated contact info, or incorrect tax codes, the consequences could be costly: delayed deliveries, failed payments, and frustrated stakeholders. That's why mastering vendor master creation isn't just a technical task. It's a strategic function that supports supplier performance, compliance, and cost control. So here's something to think about. In your own organization, are vendor records complete and consistently updated? Who manages vendor data and how do you ensure accountability and accuracy? What processes could be improved by applying the structured approach you've now practiced? With this skill in your toolkit, you're one step closer to making your procurement and financial operations more efficient, transparent, and scalable. Well done, and keep building that SAP ERP expertise.